Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Wednesday, and it's Wednesday with Tom in the car today and me at the home office. So this will be fun.
I think it's the first time. I feel like it's the first time that I've been in, but I've not been at my desk or at my kitchen table or something like that.
Wow. I was thinking that may be the case. So isn't it nice and exciting to think that we can do this technologically without being at our desk?
Sure. It will depend. So today I'm working with my friend Frank. Well, he'll be here. So he might see the car and come over and interrupt the show.
That's part of the fun. I've had a car bumped. True. I've done the show and then crashed a car right after the show. You know,
that's probably not a good sign for future shows from the road.
Probably not. No, I think you may be onto something there, Tom.
Yes.
So, hey, folks, our topic this week has been reentry. And someone yesterday was saying to me they weren't quite sure what we were talking about. So I want to see if I can make sense of it a different way. So I'm going to take a stab at it, Tom. Reentry is what we talk about in terms of coming back into your work environment after you've been away for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months. It could be 5 years. It doesn't matter. And Tom made the great analogy on Monday, I think, where he talked about the idea of Apollo 13 and that spaceship, they were worried that if they didn't perfectly land it and get to the right trajectory, it would literally bounce off the Earth's atmosphere and flitter out into space, never to be seen again. And I love that analogy because that's what happens when we re-enter. There are so many factors that we have to bring into it. And just a couple I was thinking about yesterday, Tom, was, when you come back from a great vacation, do you spend an hour telling everyone you're working with how amazing it was and showing them photos? Now, if you take a vacation in early June and most people's vacation is in mid-August, you're going to upset them because they're going to be like, oh, man, I got to wait 2 more months for a vacation. And if you take your vacation in August and the person had their vacation in June and you show them the photos in August, they're going to be like, oh, it's been so long since my vacation. Or I can't afford a vacation like that. Or, oh, it's so nice that you got to go to an all-inclusive resort. We only went to, grandma's cabin up in the middle of nowhere. So there are a lot of factors about that reentry in terms of dealing with other people, but also in terms of getting back to the actual work. How do you get specifically to doing the things you need to do in the work? So, Tom, what are your thoughts around that today?
Yeah, well, I think that, and today we're talking a little bit about when it blows up. And
I totally blanked on that. I was chugging along and I'm like, I know there's a topic. He showed it to me. We talked about it. Gone. It blew up on me.
Well, I think that it's funny as I was sitting there thinking about it and thinking about a day on the lacrosse field. I remember about a year ago or a little over a year ago when kind of the first lacrosse tournaments started up and I went to work someone else's event. So it was really like re-entering back into getting on the field. And all I remember was like at the end of my 3rd game in a row, I could feel my calves cramping up and I knew I had 3 more to go. And so it's that point of being prepared to re-enter. I had not done what I needed to do to be prepared to get back on the field in that way. And I think it's very similar with our work. If we are not prepared to go back to the office, to go back to what we're doing, to back to our team after a while off, and again, whatever that might look like, whether it's a short time ago or a long time ago, it can really be a challenge to figure that out. And you will have those times when your mind will cramp up. You won't remember all the things that you were supposed to remember or were supposed to have done. That just puts you in a bad situation, right? And it doesn't allow you to perform at your best. That day on the field, I was not at my best. I'm someone who tries really hard to run as much as I can. And I could run for a distance, but I knew if I ran much further, I was going to have really bad cramps. And so I think it's the same thing, is that if we push ourselves too much when we come back to work, or push our teams too much because we feel like, wow, we missed out. And maybe we feel like the team didn't do what it was supposed to do while we were away. So now we start pressing. And in that pressing or pressure that we put on them, that then you start to have people who are like, what the heck? This person was away for whatever time frame, comes back and is now all over us because we were here doing work and they didn't feel like we got done what we were supposed to get done. And I think that mindset that we come back to our workspace in can make a huge difference of whether or not things go smooth or they blow up.
I agree with all that. I also think there's an aspect of this that if we come back and we feel like we have to ask everyone every question. So what happened with Mr. Johnson? What happened with Mr. Phillips? What happened with this meeting? What happened with that meeting? That makes it hard for everyone. And there's a certain amount of, you've got to let go some of those things, or let go of some of those things. And I think when we think about reentry, it can be as simple as, if you have a health crisis in your life or with a family member and your mind is there for a day or a week or a month, I didn't think of it until now, but I've had to deal with some issues in my family over the last couple of years, and they've taken a lot of the brain space that I have. Mm-hmm. So when I've re-entered work, there have been days where you've said, are you okay? Because I've got things going on. It's like, I just don't have the full mental capacity today. And I think acknowledging that to ourselves is really part of self-care, and maybe even saying it to the people around us, and I think if we were to re-enter things, maybe the suggestion I would have is re-entering to avoid blow-ups is to better talk to people about, like if I said to you, Tom, let me just tell you how I am. I want to know what's going on. You need to tell me everything you did for last week. If you take the 20 minutes to just give me a rundown, I will leave you alone. We'll be rocking and rolling. If you don't, I'm going to badger you all day. Every time I talk to you, it's going to be like, Tom, tell me about this. Knowing myself and knowing what I need and building that into that team dynamic is really key. And I think it gets back to what we talk about all the time, which is communication. Having that discussion about what expectations are about being away. Are you really away? Or is it, like today, you could have said to me, hey, Bob, you know what? We should record today's program. I just can't make it work. You said you could make it work. Yesterday, we chose to record it. Is that Frank?
No, just somebody else wandering by.
Okay. I'm anxious for Frank to join us. That'll make for a fun day.
Yeah, yes. Yes,
I don't know if you can see the comments, Tom. Let me add Tim's comment into it. Preparation is absolutely key. It lets you focus on the unforeseen circumstances that will inevitably arise. And I think one of the things I've had to learn about reentry to avoid making it blow up, is to...
I've got control. Don't try to take control.
All right. One of the things I've discovered is that you have to not schedule that day when you get back to be a normal day of scheduling.
Or you just have to be prepared that if that's, sometimes you can't help it, right?
Yes.
Sometimes it works out that like your boss always has a Monday morning meeting at 9 a.m. So how do you know and remember and understand, like, what's that going to look like? And control the things you can control and say, hey, you know what? I know that this is going to happen. I'm going to deal with it because I'm going to not probably be at my best. What am I going to then do after that? How do I make sure that my schedule opens up and I can control what I can control? Because at some point we don't always get to control what is going to happen, either
What?
because someone else is
Wait,
controlling
hold
it
on.
or the inevitable happens.
Wait, you're saying I can't have complete control at all times?
Yeah, I basically told you that when I stopped allowing you to do the technology piece. So yes.
I'm very sorry. This is throwing me for a huge loop here, Tom.
You thought you had complete control?
In my mind, I actually do. I mean, that's one of the funny things about all that we talk about. In my mind, I really do believe I have more control over the world around me than I actually have. And I don't know if it's a protective mechanism or if it's a just a false belief. You know, one of those fallacies I have in my head. But as I get older, I'm starting to realize how little control I have.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that we think we have control, but there are millions of forces around us that can impact us at any moment.
Right.
And I think that's the piece that when I sort of came to grips with that, it was a lot easier to understand that not everything's going to be perfect.
And that would make re-entry better, I guess.
Yeah, because you go in knowing that I'm going to do the best I can, given my knowledge, experience, and perspective. And sometimes I'm going to do that really well, and the world is going to cooperate. And other times I'm going to do it really well, and the world is not going to cooperate. And then there are other times I'm going to do it poorly, and the world may cooperate or not.
Right. Well,
Yeah, it's just,
like
it's one of those things. You just can't control everything. And I think when you let go of some of that control, or not let go of it, but just understand that you can do the best that you can do and try to control what you can. And there are lots of things around us that will completely derail our control.
Indeed. I can see my wife walking back and forth.
Now you're getting paranoid about like who's surrounding you.
No, I just trying to figure out if I can do that. See what I did there?
Or not worry about it, because you can't control everything.
No, apparently I cannot. So Tom, why don't we do a quick promo? We've got a networking event tomorrow, right? Yes, tomorrow, Thursday, June 24th, 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's a Renegade Roundup. You want to join us. It is a good time, people. It's networking made easy. Now, you may say, I am so sick of Zoom meetings. Oh, they drive me crazy. I can't take another Zoom meeting. I got to tell you, this isn't going to be like any Zoom meeting you've ever been at. We have fun. We ask thought-provoking questions. We challenge you to think and to discover with other people. And the result of that discovery for yourself and the other people is you actually get to build relationships. You create a deeper understanding of another person because their answer to something as simple as, what's your favorite jelly bean flavor? How do you deal with setbacks? We have topics usually around the week's theme. I'll give you the hint there. I'm sure we'll have some topic tomorrow related to the theme we've been talking about this week and last week, the whole idea of getting away and re-entry. And, you know, I could see a question tomorrow that would be something like, you know, hey, when you come back from a trip or a vacation or time away from work, what's the most challenging aspect for you? And that's when we really start to learn about each other, because someone's going to say something that's going to spark something in you. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm the same way. We should talk. And we see this every single time. So if you are tired of traditional networking, if you are bored with, hi, I'm Bob, and this is what I do, and I'm looking for clients, I'm going to tell you right now, I've never said that at one of our networking events. Tom's never said anything like that at one of our networking events. And no one that's been on them has done it, because that's not what we set up for. Now, people do ask afterwards. I mean, many times there's a follow-up like, hey, you mentioned this thing you do. I want to learn more. And that's an opportunity. So if you're looking for a way to grow your network, whether you're looking for more renegades to support you and just be on that team, Team Bob or Team Tom or Team Steve or Team Bill or Team Susan or Team Andrea, you want to come to our networking event tomorrow. If you're just looking to get away at the end of the day and you want to relax, that would work too. So hope to see you tomorrow. There's more in the Facebook group, in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Whoa, I think I said Facebook group at both ends of that sentence. Sorry.
I believe that you did.
How was that?
Grammar Bob would not like that.
No, that was not my best grammar.
All right, Bob. So let's get to it today. What is your one thing about reentry and when it blows up?
I think it's that I can't control it. That I need to just let it happen the way it's going to happen. I can do what I can, like Tim said, preparing, but some of it is out of my control. If people are jealous of me because I had a great vacation, can't fix that. If they're aggravated because I was away when they had the busiest week of the year and it just happened to fall that way, I can't control that. All I can do is control how I come into that day and how am I ready to work? Am I willing to do what's necessary? If I do those things, that's really all I can control. Wow. How's that for growth?
I don't know. Well, the question is, can you follow through on that? Or will you fall back into your, yes, I can control everything?
I'm working hard to avoid that. Yeah.
All right.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. So my one thing is, I think, because it will blow up. It's just inevitable that at some point things are not going to go as you planned. As you said, we can't control everything. And I think if you just take it as that's what's real in the moment, not see it as a big deal, not see it as like, oh my gosh, the world's going to come to an end, our business is going to fall apart, our team is going to become a disaster. Just see it as, okay, this is where we are today. It blew up. What's the next step? What's the next first thing that I can do to find out? Like if you go in and ask that person on your team a million questions because you need to know everything that happened while you were gone. And they're like, man, that guy is bugging me today. What's the next step? Just go and say, hey, you know what? Yesterday, I was thinking about it and I realized that I was probably annoying you at some point. And I apologize for that. But I love to know what's going on. I love to hear about what you're doing. I love to see where we're going as a team or an organization. And so I think that when you just accept that it might blow up, and when it does, think about what is your first next step. Take that and then take the next one and realize that it's just what's real in the moment. Not good, bad, indifferent, just what happened. What are we going to do to move forward? And how do we think about what is that next step to take?
I like that. That's nice. That's a lot to chew on this morning. But I think This is really an important topic that we overlook way too often. This whole idea of you have to get away. And last week we were so focused on getting away and the need and the benefits. It only stands to reason that you have to talk about the other side of the equation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Tom, this has been great. I love, however you did this, I am in awe because I usually don't get as good technology when I'm away from my office. And so I bow to your technology wisdom this morning because this has been seamless.
It's just what it is. It could have gone a very different way. So
it could be quite the reentry.
Someone with a big bald head could have popped in my window and that would have made it a very different show. So folks, if you have something that you would like to add as what your one thing is about reentry and when it blows up, please feel free to share it in the chat, or you can go to the Ring of Renegades Facebook group and post it there. If you're not yet a member, you can still join our growing group. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then it is a private group. So you just have to ask to join and tell us why you're a renegade. And then you can become a part of our growing community where we are helping people take their next step on their own unique pathway to success. So we hope that we will see you there. If not, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of today's Antidote. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the Facebook group, here's some further information. Have a great rest of your day.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer. the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.